You're listening to LOA Recon with the Good Vibe coach Jeanette Ma, where we dissect the ins and outs and the art and science of conscious creation, all intended to amp up your manifesting game. Let's have some fun together. Thanks for tuning in to this episode where I wanted to share what I think is probably the hands down most powerful conscious creator practice any of us could ever engage. In fact, it's the manifesting strategy that I'm banking on this year. I play with a lot of different things. I use an I am statement just about every day. I do 17 seconds of pure positive thought while I'm shooting for 68. I do that pretty regularly. I just recently took a handful of vows that was really cool. Every month at Good Vibe University, we've been playing with a new LOA process or exercise. We switch it up every new month. But of all those different things that I play with, there's one that has taken the forefront for me this year like never before in my entire history as a conscious creator. And it happened organically. I can't even say like I consciously decided, okay, this is it. But it's just evolved into the thing that I do in those day in, day out moments. It's not just a practice I do once a day. It's filling up a lot of moments. What I'm talking about, you guys, is appreciation. This one is, it's probably one of the highest vibrations we can flow, right? It's right up there with joy and love and bliss, excitement. And a lot of us have probably experienced what a game changer it is to engage this vibration on a regular basis. In fact, I have a story about how I lived in a house that I loved so, so much. I lived in this house where, if I started a rampage about everything I loved about this house, we could be here for an hour and a half. I loved the neighborhood. The house itself was darling. It was red brick. It was a perfect size for me and my animals. It was in a wonderful neighborhood. The community was amazing. I've never experienced anything like that before. It was close to where I worked. I had a variety of jobs downtown. It was super convenient for that, so I had a wonderful commute. The layout of the house was it just felt like me. I loved everything about this house. In fact, I loved this house so much that I knew I was going to die there. When I got divorced, I kept the house. I paid him out a lot of money for him to go, and I knew I was never leaving this house. I loved it so much. And one day, I had a boyfriend who wanted to move in together, but he didn't want to live in my house. And I was so surprised when I checked in with guidance and I got a green light for moving in with him. So sure enough, we bought another house together, but I kept this one that I loved so much that I knew I would die there. I kept it as a rental because I kind of suspected one day I would be back. Where if I wanted to go back, I just wanted to be able to, because I couldn't imagine ever loving anything more than I loved that house. And then I moved into this new house with my boyfriend, and I loved this house so much that when we were getting ready to break up a couple of years later, when we were talking about who would leave and who would stay, he was like, well, of course, you'll go back to Rose Park. And I was like, I'm not going back to Rose Park. Like, I loved this new house so much more. That's the story I love to tell about the power of appreciation, where it's impossible for things to stay the same when you are flowing that much love for it. When you flow that kind of, it wasn't just gratitude, it wasn't appreciation, it was off the charts love for something it can't help but get better. Universe has to find a way to grow what you're experiencing because you're flowing that vibration so strongly. And maybe it doesn't always mean a different location or a different person or a different job. Maybe universe delivers it in different ways. But the power of appreciation is it guarantees that life only gets better. So much better that, I argued, I fought, I got stubborn about staying in this house. And I want to be able to practice that in other areas of my life so I can invite that same kind of expansion and evolution that feels magical when we're flowing such strong appreciation. Like, you know what? I've actually done this on boyfriends before where I was starting to get resentful or irritated. I was, kind of grumbly about what they weren't doing right. And when I recognize, when I'm, aware that I'm in that habit, when I consciously change that up into starting to flow appreciation for them, for who they are, for what they do, for all the wonderful times we've had together, it's like someone waved a magic wand over them and they turn into a better boyfriend. It's amazing. I've been practicing this currently in a couple of different ways of life. I'm bringing appreciation to the forefront in my business. It wasn't that long ago where I was starting to get frustrated that my income wasn't growing as much as I thought it should be. In fact, I was so sick and tired of making the same six figures that it seemed like I had for a couple years in a row that I decided to get conscious about embracing the identity of a seven-figure business owner, because I figured my hang up here is that I think of myself as someone who does six figures, so that's why it keeps manifesting. If I want it to be different, I've got to feel it different. So I started taking on the vibration of a seven-figure business owner, but I wasn't too far into that practice before I realized that I was engaging that out of a resistance to my old income. And what we resist persists. So I knew my new homework is to be able to appreciate and love my present income. And that was a little bit of a challenge because I had sure practiced frustration and resentment around it where it seemed like it should be more than it was. So I brought appreciation to that. There's no brought. Bringing, that's a present practice. Bringing appreciation to my current income. And it doesn't take long before things like that, you can start to see the payoff. But, here's the thing. If we're doing appreciation in order to make something happen, that's not pure appreciation. That's flowing that vibration with an agenda, and that's not clean. That's got a little charge on it that can slow up the party. So to do this in order to make something change isn't true appreciation. That's worth keeping in mind. But another way I've practiced it when, I've got a dog who's showing signs of getting older. And when I find myself feeling a little anxious about that and starting to count, okay, how old is he? How many years should I expect to get? When I start having those sorts of thoughts, I know this is not a vibration that's going to take me where I want to go. So I've been practicing appreciating every moment that I have with him instead of wondering or being a little bit afraid of how many I have with him. Just being able to love the time we have together right here, right now. You guys, fear and love can't be flowing those at the same time. So when I tune into appreciation and thankfulness, I'm flowing a very different energy, and that creates different results. I've been practicing it on my body where I'm sometimes when I notice, I got room for improvement here or there, I'm like, you know what? Don't focus on that, girlfriend. Focus on what is going right. Focus on what you love about this. In fact, even if it's the thing that I wish was a little different, there's a way to look at it where you can love it. I wrote a blog post about this actually on, it's righter than we realize. There's so much going right for us, and our bodies are a really good example of how we can get dialed down on one thing that's bothering us, and we make it a huge deal, and that focus grows. It'll grow things going wrong if we don't check it. So appreciation for my physical self is another habit that I'm engaging this year. Another one is I'm in my business. I'm in the process of moving my shopping cart vendor. That's kind of a big job. I've got 2 VAs who are working on that for me. But while we're doing that, I noticed it was kind of easy for me to be in the place of exasperation, irritation. Like I was just mad at what I didn't like about where I was and why, what inspired me to move. And I know I don't want to show up at my new vendor with that vibration, right? Because wherever you go, you take your vibration with you. And if I'm mad about this, that, or the other over here, when I get to my new place, if mad is what I've been practicing, guess what I'm going to get? More reasons to be mad. So I've been dwelling on what I have loved about this system, on what really was easy for me to work with and what I liked about it. Just pure appreciation. And I know That's going to work really well for me as I transition over to somewhere new. Again, doing this not so that I'm making something happen, but just for the enjoyment. It feels good to appreciate something. It's a wonderful vibration to experience. And I know that because I didn't love up my house, my first house that I lived in for 16 years. I didn't love that up in order to get a better house. I loved that up because I didn't think there was anything better. I was right where I wanted to be. And in that place of that vibration, universe, when it gets that signal that hears, you're living the good life, you're loving what's going on, it sends you more good stuff, more things that you will love. My point here being that I believe appreciation, and I'm not the only one, I think you'll hear this in a lot of LOA circles, that appreciation is the hands down most powerful way to manifest a life that you love. Appreciation for what is, and also looking forward to what's coming next. That is, I just don't think it gets more aligned than that. So know that the more you love it up now, the better it gets next. I hope you enjoyed this. Thanks for listening, and happy manifesting.